Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you're all doing okay. First of all, I want to start this video with an apology, really. I know that it's been a long time since I've done any videoing whilst talking on the bike. And the simple reason for that, really, is because I didn't have a microphone anymore. I lost the ability to do the recordings. Anyway, that's now sorted. I now have another microphone and I'm recording via Bluetooth, actually, through my phone, through a Bluetooth microphone setup. And hopefully it's clear enough and it's okay. It's going to have to be. It's the best I can do. So, what a gorgeous bit of sun there coming through there. It's nice to see that. Yeah. So first of all, that's my apology as to why I've not been putting up any videos of late. But also just wanted to have a little chat and just to sort of say that coming up in the next few months, I'm going to be putting quite a few more videos up now that I can do it again. And hopefully, with a range of topics, as you'll have seen, if you follow my channel, you'll have seen that one of my last videos I put up was about my new jacket, which I'm currently wearing here. You might be able to see it. My new jacket that I'm wearing. That was an initial review. I want to do a more in-depth review. I've been wearing it now since Christmas. I've put in quite a few miles, getting more used to it now. And it has taken some getting used to, but I'm going to do a more in-depth review on that at some point. I want to do another more in-depth review on my Shoei helmet, my GTR. Again, I've had that now a year, so I want to do a review after a year's ownership on that. I also want to do an in-depth review, which I'm going to do today, having owned the Suzuki GSF 1250 for 2 years. I want to do an in-depth review 2 years on, and I'm going to do that today. But also, in the coming weeks, I'm going to be doing more videos, just hopefully out, if I get a chance to get out, if work allows, just getting out on the bike and exploring. Got another Scotland tour to look forward to in the summer. Going away with the lads again for a few days to Scotland, which is always fantastic. Love that, look forward to it months in advance. In fact, I'm looking forward to it now. Can't wait for that. So those will be a couple of hopefully exciting videos to put up later on in the summer months. When I'll also, hopefully then after that, give a much more in-depth review of the new tyres, which is another video that I put up not so long ago. The new Michelin Pilot Road 3s. Now, I know they're not the Pilot Road 4s. They were just a little bit out of my budget, so I went for the Pilot Road 3s, having had the Pilot Road 2s for a couple of years. So I've got to say, initial impressions are, having probably done about 1,000 miles on them already, on my new tyres, just to say that, well, they're pretty good, but I'll be giving a more in-depth review about them as well. So there's a number of videos that I'm going to be doing. But for now, as I head into Liverpool, and there's the River Mersey. For those who don't live near this neck of the woods, that is the River Mersey, the famous song, Ferry Across the Mersey, there it is. What a fantastic river, what a fantastic city I live in. So we're heading into the city centre. But I'm going to give an in-depth review of the Suzuki GSF 1250 Bandit, or SA as it is. But 2 years, I've had this bike 2 years and 3 months. I have now done on this bike 18,500 miles in that time. Put on quite a bit, really. And I just want to spend a few minutes just talking about my experiences of this bike. First of all, I've just got to say, that was a clever move, mate, in your Jaguar, coming out with a nice new Jag. Very clever. Yeah, first of all, I've got to say, I absolutely love this bike. So if I get at all critical during these next few minutes as we review this bike, first and foremost, I love this bike. It does everything well. That's basically, that's the review summed up. It does everything well. The engine on this bike is simply stunning. There is no other word for it. It's absolutely stunning. It's got just oodles of power. In fact, there's just too much power to use. The torque is there in any gear. You can be in any gear and you can ask for it and it'll give it. And there's no lag, there's no delay, it'll just pick up from anywhere. In fact, if anything, it can turn you into a bit of a lazy rider because you can stick it in the higher gear and you can stay there all day, which perhaps is not good. It's so smooth, it's just, I don't know, it's creamy is the word. I don't know what you can say about it. It's just a delightful bike to ride. It's such a smooth, comfortable ride. The positioning of this bike, I've ridden this bike for 300 miles, 350 miles is the most I've done in a day, 350, and I've got off this bike, and I might have had a bit of a sore backside. Maybe, but not really. It is incredibly comfy. Incredibly comfy. Obviously, I've added on the heated grips, which make a difference to comfort in the colder days. But the actual sitting position, it's so comfortable. It's so forgiving. The suspension, okay, it's not like the best suspension in the world. I'm sure there's a lot better out there. But it doesn't fail. It never falls short. You know, apart from maybe when you're going, you know, you're asking it for a bit around the twisties and you get on a bumpy road, just maybe then it gets a little bit out of kilter, shall we say. But it soon regains composure and everything's back on track again. The gearbox, never had an issue with it, absolutely fantastic. As I said, all smooth, just like the engine. The instrument panel of the dashboard, got everything you need. Maybe one thing I could have had, sometimes the temperature, outside temperature would have been quite nice, but you know, you get them on perhaps more modern bikes, but it's nothing you don't miss. At the end of the day, just look at your phone, it tells you where it is. Petrol range on this bike, I've had 175. I've had 175 miles on one of the trips to Scotland, and it was obviously empty, but I never ran out. So I had 175 miles on the odometer on the trip. Got to a petrol station, filled up. Didn't run out, 175. I reckon I'd have had another 10, 15 miles in there. It's that's one of my only gripes. The petrol gauge seems to drop fairly quickly, and before you know it, it's flashing at you, which puts panic in you and makes you think, oh, I need petrol, when in reality you actually don't need petrol. Brakes, I've had new brake shoes fitted, new brake pads fitted, and that's made a massive difference. They are much more responsive. The new tyres make it much more responsive. Never had a problem with the brakes. The brakes seem to do the trick fine for me. I'm not heavy on the brakes, I've got to be honest. I'm not like a mad rider. I'm quite a sedate rider, really. So I'm not overly heavy. In fact, I quite like to use the back brake quite a bit. So I'd never really have too much wear on the brakes and never find them lacking, that's for sure. Don't get me wrong, I do enjoy having a lot of fun on the twisties and pushing it there. So, yeah, I've never found the brakes wanting. What else can I say about this bike? It's hardly cost me a penny. Running costs are minimal. It's not the most economical bike in the world. Obviously, you can get bikes that run a lot cheaper than this. Insurance, I think I'm paying hardly anything. I'm paying under 100 quid on the insurance. It's I've had one set of tyres in 2 years. I've had to change the brake pads front and back, and that is it. It's the servicing costs. I've done the servicing myself, so it doesn't cost much. It's fantastic. Absolutely love it. My one biggest gripe on this bike, is the weight. It's a heavy old beast. It's a very heavy bike. Once it's going, you never notice it. Once the bike is moving, the weight is not an issue. In fact, it's quite nimble around the twisty roads. It's quite nimble. It's all right. It's quite a long bike, quite a long wheelbase. So you have to get used to that initially. There's a bit of getting used to on that. But it's heavy when you get off it and you're manoeuvring it. When you're pushing it around, it's quite heavy. Getting it on its centre stand when it's fully loaded with luggage, that is a feat in itself. I've got to be honest with you. You need to have Arnold Schwarzenegger muscles to get that on its centre stand. But, there's always a side stand. You don't always need to put it on the centre stand. And if I'm being totally honest, when I've got full luggage on and I'm going somewhere, if I'm on tour or if I'm going, and I've got full luggage on, I will very, very seldom put it on its centre stand. I always tend to just use the side stand. That's my biggest gripe. What this bike offers far outweighs the negatives. The positives far outweigh the negatives. I've had my 16-year-old son on the back of this. He's bigger than me, he's heavier than me, and this bike has never even flinched. So there's a 13-stone extra weight on the back of this bike. If he fits perfectly all right, and the bike responds brilliantly. Doesn't even have an impact, really. Obviously, there's a bit of a squeeze on two of us on the seat, but actual carrying the extra weight and the balance of him doesn't make a difference. This bike can do everything well, and I think that sums up this review. That it's a fantastic all-rounder. It's never let me down. It's given me no end of smiles. Every time I get on this bike, I smile. And what else can I say about that? That's really all you need to know, isn't it? That every time I get on this bike, it makes me smile. It makes me happy. Only once has it perhaps threatened to throw me off. And that was on my old tyres. They were getting worn, and perhaps I was asking a bit too much of the conditions on the day. And that was the reason that I went in to get new tyres. So, that's not even the bike's fault. That's my fault and the tyres. So, other than that, absolutely love it. 2 years on, I love it more than I did the day I got it. And that's all I can say. So, if you're in the market for a Suzuki Bandit, or you're looking for a big all-rounder, don't write this bike off. I know that there are so many other options out there, more advanced models, shall we say, where technology is better, the bikes are lighter, they've got all the latest gizmos, etc., etc., and this essentially is an old-fashioned bike. But sometimes, old is good. It doesn't always have to be newfangled technology. Sometimes, old is good, and that's a big pothole. And this bike is good. The fact that it's old, the fact that the engine is a simple engine, it's not got that much technology sort of stuff going on, well, that actually makes it easier to maintain. That, I can still do home servicing and all those other things. So, yeah, if you're in the market for an all-rounder, don't write this bike off. Get a test drive on it, and I guarantee you will love the engine. You will love what it has to offer. Okay, well, I hope that's all right. And until next time, I shall see you soon.